there was $160 million that went to a Canadian electric vehicle bus manufacturer. Well, guess what? They just declared bankruptcy.
It's just something else here every single day. Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today, what we've got is the Liberals proposing a law that punishes politicians for lying. This is something I've been saying for a long time. $10,000 fine, $10,000 fine every time they lie. But coming from the Liberals, I literally have a Carney lie tracker, so I can't see this going through, but that's happening today. We got a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's jump into this. Got an update from Canada Post here. I got some interesting info here about Canada Post. Someone sent this to me. They noted that this little icon is appearing now. Carbon neutral shipping. That's right. That's so important in Canada that Canada Post has this little icon on here. And on the next page, if you click on it, it says how carbon neutral shipping works. We calculate carbon emissions for all ground deliveries in Canada. We balance our CO2 by supporting Indigenous offset projects. These projects help clean the air by taking out the same amount of CO2 released. The results is a balanced environment impact. What does this have to do with Indigenous offset projects? Couldn't you have a normal one? Or are non-Indigenous offset projects not good enough? They're not good enough for Canada Post. This is so stupid. Let's just call it what it is. So I really wonder why they have this here. Did Mark Carney already get his tentacles in here? Or was this just fallout from Justin Trudeau? They were already rolling this out earlier. Starting this one off, we got Canada's economic growth for the past 10 years. Where are we at? Well, of course, we're the one with no economic growth, 0.5%. And with that lagging economic support, we're seeing this now. Some Canadians are buying second passports in the Caribbean. Canada's becoming a crap hole and people are starting to leave. They're getting extra passports, they're moving to different countries. In the comments here, there's a whole bunch of people like got mine from Costa Rica. Like a whole bunch of people have already done this here. Things are falling apart in Canada so quickly, we're going to end up looking like this. This is Johannesburg in 2013 and in 2023, 10 years apart. This is what's happening to Canada in real time. Got this one here, coal power stations. China's got 1,161, US with 204, India 285, and Canada has 8. Why is Canada the only one with a carbon tax? And just picture this, Canada's biggest export to China is coal. You can't make this stuff up. This whole carbon tax, fighting climate change, all of it, the green grift is just a big scam. It's all a money-making scam. Cash grab, end of story. Liberals actually buy into this lie. I don't know if they buy into this. I think they're just using this lie. They're a bunch of liars. Listen to this one here. Youth unemployment is reaching all-time highs in Ontario, and the CBC blames it on we could spend hours debating the cause. Then when they actually point to some of the causes, it's not the millions of people the Liberals are bringing in every year.
When you look at 1 in 10 in this people in the city looking for work, 54,000 people applying for 5,000 jobs at the CNE. What's driving these unemployment rates?
There is so much. Like, we could spend hours talking about what this, what the source of all of this is. I think.
No, we don't have to spend hours. It's literally the insane immigration that the Liberals are doing. That's the problem.
The biggest things that we're seeing is a fundamental shift in what the labor needs are. We've got a booming generation of Gen Z. We've got so many young people freshly graduated looking for work. And we're also seeing folks aren't retiring and stepping out of the workforce as quickly because the...
Are you kidding me? They're saying that there's so many people not retiring and suddenly we have this scourge of young people that just popped out of nowhere. They're graduating. What's going on? There's so many young people. They're taking all the jobs. That's not happening. They're bringing in too many people from India. There, I said it. We all know this is what's happening. Millions of people are being brought from India and they're taking all the Canadian jobs, screwing over Canadians. Our immigration system was perfect before. The Liberals have destroyed it. Now they're destroying Canadian lives. And the CBC's right there trying to help them cover it up.
The economy is so challenging. And then we look at some of those larger macro and microeconomic trends. It's really impacting the volume at which organizations can hire. So a lot of different factors here. What this boils down to is ultimately more job seekers than jobs available, which is leading to doubling, tripling, and
oh, thanks, Einstein. This lady's an embarrassment.
Sometimes even higher kind of rates of increase of how many applications we're getting it for every single open role.
Good thing they brought on career coach Emily Durham to tell us what's not affecting the job rates all that much. This is disgraceful. Just wait until America takes back its manufacturing job from Ontario. Yeah, no kidding. This hurts both of us. The people from India are being promised this utopian life. They're getting screwed over, getting packed 20 people into a house. Canadians don't have jobs. The solution is simple. We need to close the border and we need to deport a whole bunch of people. If people want to come here, they have to fight their way in. We want the best of the best, and then people got to be vetted. No more goblins and goons coming into our country. Got this one from Blacklock's Reporter. It says petition to legalize lying. This is funny because this is coming from a liberal. Liberal-sponsored petition is asking Commons to legalize political lies. MP Karen Bardesi, Parliamentary Secretary for Industry, sponsored the petition. Members of Parliament have been accused of making important public statements that are false and without evidence, said the preamble to petition E6679. It provided no examples. Misinformation is a growing threat to the proper functioning of, as well as faith in, our democratic process, said the petition. The mechanism needs to verify MPs' public statements and maintain trust in our governing body. Is that right? I wonder what he has to say about my Carney lie tracker. Should Carney be in prison then for all of his lies? Does he get fined for all of these? $10,000 a piece? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 21, 22. So $220,000? 22 lies? This is quite something. A liberal sponsoring this. A white lie, example, claiming to be fine when a member is actually tired or some minor lack of truthfulness would not be regarded as a breach of the rule, said the Welsh Code. Equally, while members are expected to reasonably fact check and verify their assertions, it is inevitable that sometimes a correction, but honestly made statements will occur. I'm all for this. I've already been saying this for a long time. $10,000 for a single lie. The fact this is coming from a liberal, this is crazy. I don't even know what to think anymore. Obviously, this is not going to go through because Carney lies all the time. Got quite the story that's on American media right now. So the Americans have found out that Joe Biden sent $160 million to Lion Electric, a Canadian EV company made electric buses, and those buses are a disaster. A bunch of them were bought in Canada, and they only operate for about a month before they're shut down. And as we'll see here, an entire fleet in the city has problems. At any point in time, half the buses are out of commission.
I'll give you one more really quickly. There was $160 million that went to a Canadian electric vehicle bus manufacturer. The Biden administration sent all of the money. Now, you might say, hey, just produce the school bus and then we'll pay you. Or if you need some partial payments along the way, we'll give some money that makes sense. Right. They gave all the money up front. Well, guess what? They just declared bankruptcy. They still haven't provided $95 million worth of school buses to 55 school districts. It's the American taxpayer that gets screwed.
Yeah, this is
I'll give you one more really.
We're all getting screwed, including the American taxpayer. Lion Electric obtains creditor protection under CCAA. We got this article here from CTV. It says Lion Electric will not respect warranties on school buses sold in the United States. This is hilarious. Lion Electric will no longer honor warranties, leaving clients south of the border in the lurch. After seeking protection from its creditors in December, its struggling manufacturer was acquired by a group of Quebec investors in May with a plan to refocus exclusively on electric school buses assembled and sold in the province. This Lion Electric is so bad. There's a city that bought a whole bunch of them. I can't remember which one it was, maybe Edmonton, and half the buses don't work and they always break down. School districts revealed technical safety issues with Lion Electric EV buses. All 4 Lion buses that we own are currently parked and not being used. 2 of them are in need of repair, which would cost us money, which we're not willing to do and to invest because these buses do not run for more than a month before needing more repairs. This company needs to be sued into the Stone Age. That company needs to be absolutely drained of every dollar given back to these school districts. And the company founders should never be able to start another company again. Using a diesel-powered heater to warm an electric bus also somewhat defeats the purpose of 100% zero emissions. Listen to this. So it talks about a whole bunch of problems and they can fix it by resetting the bus to get rid of error codes. It says usually the fix was to stop the bus, get out, reset the bus from the outside by flipping a switch. It was basically like rebooting a computer, but the problem is actually having to exit the bus. That's a clear safety concern when the bus is packed with students. Furthermore, the buses lost power while driving on the highway, leading to a loss of steering and braking ability. Oh, wow. There's a massive lawsuit just waiting here. Had to manhandle them to the side of the road. There was a little clue from Lion about what was going on. The only input we got was it might be user error. We thought we were an isolated case where not other districts have experienced the same problems. The frame was rattling the bus apart. They continued. The emergency gap was about 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/4 inch at the bottom. So the door didn't quite fit right. The door is not supposed to get wider at the bottom. It just goes on and on and on. So many problems with these stupid electric buses. Moving ahead, we got this one, how Brampton homes are really selling in 2025. Home inspections, price drops, and Brampton buyers aren't checking for damage, they're hunting for leverage. So this one here was bought for $1.599 million, $1.6 million, and you can see the sale price here, $1.365. So they had to drop $234,000. I showed on a previous video, a realtor was suggesting a price to not insult the seller. Never do that. You can always offer whatever you want, especially in this market. If you want to offer on this property was 1.6 million. Offer $1 million if you want to. They don't like it, they can say no. And if they're really desperate, they'll come back even with $1 million offer and they'll say, okay, how about 1,550,000? They'll drop it 50K. If you had a price point, say you wanted to buy this at 1.2 or 1.3 million, then you can come back and say 1.1 million and just play that game until you get to where your number is. But there's no rules in real estate. Despite realtors saying, oh, you don't want to insult the seller, comes down to it. This is a lot of money. You can do whatever you want. If your realtor doesn't want to represent you how you want to negotiate, then get a new realtor. Moving ahead, we've got this one. Apple shares are tumbling because Donald Trump is taking aim at Apple and saying there needs to be tariff on the company because they're not making iPhones in America.
President Trump is ramping up his tariff threats on social media. The latest target on Apple had alerts ringing and Wall Street spinning. The Dow dropped 0.6% yesterday. Shares of Dow component Apple fell 3% after the president's post that phones sold in America should be made in America. The S&P and NASDAQ also tumbled, and today the president is in West Point.
So Trump did go on to say that it wouldn't be fair if he's only targeting Apple. So this goes for all phones, including Samsung and anyone else who makes their phones. They need to make them in America, or he wants to put on a tariff on them. This chart here, Apple versus the world, companies with the largest market capitalization by continent in relation to Apple. North America, 2.85 trillion, Asia, 1.98 trillion, then Europe at 400 billion, and it goes down from there. And let's round this one off with this buffoon, Melanie Joly, who says that we're leading the charge. Really? In what, failing? It's important to note that this clip is back from April. Melanie Joly saying that they will retaliate against Trump if he puts tariffs on. But so far, there's been no retaliation. It's been crickets from Carney's office. Yeah, but we're not dealing with the American people. We're dealing with Donald Trump. And there's different ways to defend yourself. Sometimes it's an aggressive stance. And sometimes it's opening the door and letting them come on in and working out a deal versus pissing them off and hoping that works out. The greatest losers. The goal was to have no tariffs, but the result is 35%. In other words, a colossal failure, which unfortunately ordinary Canadians will pay. That's right. The tariffs were 25% with Justin Trudeau and 35% with Mark Carney. 25% with Justin Trudeau on steel and aluminum, 50% on steel and aluminum with Mark Carney. It's almost like we have an American running Canada.